All right, let's dive into a mystery that's fascinated historians, archaeologists, and armchair explorers for decades, the sacred foods of the Anunnaki. Now, if you've never heard of the Anunnaki, let me set the scene. Picture ancient Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, the cradle of civilization. Thousands of years ago, people carved stories on clay tablets about these godlike beings, the Anunnaki, who supposedly came from the heavens. But here's where it gets interesting. The Anunnaki weren't just rulers or teachers. They were said to have introduced special foods to humans. Foods that weren't just about survival, but about power, wisdom, and even immortality. So what were these sacred foods? Well, the ancient texts mention something called the bread of life and the water of life. Sounds pretty epic, right? These weren't your average loaf of bread or a glass of water. According to the myths, these were divine gifts, foods that could heal, strengthen, and maybe even grant eternal life. Let's break it down. The bread of life was often served at holy rituals or royal banquets. Some historians think it was a special kind of bread, maybe made from the finest grains or even a fermented product like early beer. Others say it's symbolic, a metaphor for wisdom or enlightenment. Then there's the water of life. In a land where rivers meant everything, water was sacred. But this wasn't just any water. It was believed to flow from a mythical source, maybe even from the gods themselves. Drinking it could purify the body and soul, and in some stories it brought the dead back to life. But here's the twist. Some researchers think these foods weren't just myth. They might have been real recipes, fermented drinks, herbal elixirs, or nutrient-rich bread that gave ancient people a health boost. Imagine being one of the chosen few, invited to a secret feast with the gods, tasting something no one else could. And the symbolism doesn't end there. The Anunnaki's sacred foods show up in later legends too, from the Greek ambrosia to the biblical manna. It's as if every ancient culture wanted a taste of the divine. So were the Anunnaki real beings who handed down secret recipes, or were these stories a way to explain the power of food and ritual in ancient life? That's the real mystery. But one thing's for sure, the idea of sacred, life-changing food has been with us since the dawn of civilization. Next time you break bread, maybe you're sharing in a tradition that goes all the way back to the Anunnaki. Makes you look at dinner a little differently, doesn't it? Thanks for watching, and stay curious.